What's going on, everyone? I'm just a simple American guy here today, not just to entertain you, but to learn and react to what does the Queen's Guard actually do. Now, the Queen's Guard is one of the cornerstones of the American, what pops into our little brains when we think of Great Britain or England. We think of the Queen's Guard, and by that, I mean the Queen's Guard, not Gambit, but the Queen, the Queen's Guard. These guys. Yeah. I swear, at one point in every little American child's life, we all thought that these dudes here, in their ceremonial outfits, I assume they're ceremonial, we thought this was just what the British police looked like. Like all British soldiers or British police looked like this, and I'm fairly certain they do not. Now that I'm a little older and maybe a slightly wiser, this has to be a ceremonial outfit. And I actually didn't realize till I read the title of this video that they were the Queen's Guard, and the individuals wearing this iconic outfit are all members of the Queen's Guard. I don't know. I'm honestly kind of hoping to learn a little more about that during this video. But yeah, also every other association I have with these Queen's Guard is just videos of people trolling them, which used because, famously, all Americans know this, that these guys, you can go up to them, people troll them, they're silly. Some people are straight up rude and mean because they know that these guards are not supposed to speak or move. And I'm not exactly sure what the rules are, but hey, that's what we got this video here for me, right? So with that being said, let's watch it.
Queen Elizabeth II is the longest-serving British monarch and is the current longest-serving monarch in the world.
What? I did not know this. The longest... Hold on.
Second is the longest-serving British monarch.
I certainly didn't even know that. And certainly did not know that she's the current longest-serving monarch on the planet.
And is the current longest-serving monarch in the world.
Good for her. Wow.
Since she took the throne in 1952, much has changed in the UK.
1952. Exactly 70 years ago. Wow.
You could say the British people are not...
How old is... My goodness. Queen Elizabeth. Google, please. Solve all my problems. Age. Once I can have Google, 96 years old. What? Wow. That's incredible. That's amazing. I hope to live to anywhere near approaching 96 years old. My goodness. Good for her. Okay.
Not on the whole as enamored with the royal family as they were when she took the throne. But despite polls in 2018 revealing that 2/3 of the British public were not interested in the royal wedding, it seems for the most part people...
That's kind of a cultural thing that I have no idea what the popular sentiment is around the royal family and the queen. My very limited understanding is that she is well respected and everyone's pretty much cool with all that stuff, but the royal family and their sort of civic government duties have taken a large step back compared to, the old days. And, yeah, but, they're still widely respected in Great Britain, UK. Am I correct here in saying this?
People are not interested in getting rid of their royals. We can only find one instance when someone planned to take out the Queen. And that was only revealed years later, when declassified spy papers told us a New Zealand teenager had planned to do just that in 1981. So what do...
Wow. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, anywhere in the world you're going to get some extreme cases where that can happen, I suppose.
The Queen's Guard do with themselves all day. Welcome to this episode of the Infographic Show.
Right, so this is, I hope maybe he dives a little bit into what the Queen's Guard's rules are as far as the no talking, no moving. That's, I mean, as an American, that's all. If he could just give me a little infographic on that, I'd be very happy. But there's probably so much more to it, right?
What does the Queen's Guard actually do? If you saw our show titled How Much Protection Does the Royal Family Get?, you'll know that the royal family has around-the-clock protection, and that comes in many forms. We're not just talking about the main royals that we all know, but the many other members of this family. The Queen might be supported by her guards, but you have other outfits such as Scotland Yard's Royalty and Specialist Protection Service, also offering armed protection when she's at home.
Is there, if I were to equate this to the U.S. president and past presidents and, politicians and celebrities, all of them, and all of them have bodyguards, people that protect them. Certainly the government figures especially have people assigned by the government to protect them. But the president, if I can equate that to the Queen, has Secret Service, as in people who are assigned to protect them, who hide, who dress up in normal clothing. You're never supposed to know they're there. Whereas the Queen's guards are quite obvious, honestly speaking. They have gigantic hats on. They have very vibrant coats on. Everyone can spot them. They're famous, for crying out loud. Okay, I don't think I'm talking out of school here when I say everyone can spot the Queen's Guard from probably a mile away. But I assume there must be some more discreet protection going on as well, undercover people. That would very much make sense.
And when she goes on the road, while it seems the royals don't have many enemies, who knows if someone is willing to spend years in prison for their 5 minutes of fame. Yeah. That's why when you see her driving down the street, she'll be surrounded by an armed and very skilled special escort group. So with this in mind, does she really need a Queen's Guard?
Okay, there you go. That makes total sense. It's kind of a combination of both, right?
First of all, you all likely know who we're talking about when we say the Queen's Guard, since you've all seen pictures of these men that wear those large furry hats and dress in red and black.
That is exactly how an American would think of it. I don't know if that sounds insulting or something, but we really have a way of boiling things down to just the most the simplest, most eye-catching thing possible, right? We're like, oh, giant hat, giant fuzzy hat. It takes our attention for the next 20 minutes while we take a breath, settle down from the giant hat. But yeah, these guys have been... I've known about the Queen's Guard since I was a little kid. They've always just been this fun, British thing in American pop culture. Just, I don't know why. I mean, I guess the answer is because visually, it's pretty striking.
These people are not just for show, however, and they fill a role in protecting the Queen. The Guard is made up of infantry and cavalry soldiers, and they work in what's called the Household Division. That means you'll find them doing their duty at Buckingham Palace, St. James Palace, Windsor Castle, and some other places.
Wow, there's more. I've learned about Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle, but I didn't know there was another. And there's probably more castles, right? It just never ends.
One source tells us that the Queen spends most of her time at Buckingham Palace, although she goes to Windsor Castle on most weekends, visits Balmoral Castle in Scotland for long periods of time, and for Christmas often visits Sandringham House in Norfolk. We're told
just no big deal, You got your little private Christmas getaway, your weekend castle. I have a weekend castle. It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. I got a weekend castle out back. You just can't see it.
Told that the Queen's Guard is mainly split into 2 parts, and those 2 parts will be posted either at Buckingham Palace or St. James Palace. When the Queen is staying at Buckingham Palace, there are usually 3 officers working there as well as 40 other ranks. There will also be 4 sentries at the palace. They work night and day, sometimes staying in one spot, while others will walk around the grounds.
Okay, so this answers a bit of one of my questions, which is how serious are the duties of these guards? And I don't mean any disrespect, but from a lot of the videos Americans are fed, they are meant to come across to us seemingly as almost a tourist attraction. I don't know why that is what the vibe is, what it looks like, but it's always come across that way. But that just isn't the truth. I can see from this video. They are very much a serious Queen's Guard, there to do like very serious duties, patrolling, sentries, 24-hour watch. It's not just to take photographs with the silly Americans coming to troll.
Guards might be part of the Grenadier Guards, the Scots Guards, the Irish Guards, the Welsh Guards, or the Coldstream Guards. If you visit Buckingham
Okay, so hold on.
while others will walk around the grounds, the Foot Guards might be part of the Grenadier Guards, the Scots Guards, the Irish Guards, the Welsh Guards, or the Coldstream Guards.
So guards from all the different types of guards can be part of the Queen's Guard, if I'm understanding.
If you visit Buckingham Palace at the right time, you might actually see the changing of the guard. Okay, so now we should ask if these guys ever have any trouble. In the past, the guards did have a few run-ins with a disgruntled public.
Yeah. From what videos I've seen, it's mostly just people being silly, thankfully. Although I'm sure that gets very old. I'm sure if you're a Queen's Guard, that gets so old. Oh my goodness. People, I'm sure they're good sports about it, I guess, you know, when it's happening to you all the time, especially from probably foreigners who don't have being respectful on the forefront of their mind, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously they've come across serious threats as well. That's interesting to think about.
But for the most part in modern times, they haven't really been tested. Perhaps the biggest case and some blushes for the guards was when a man called Michael Fagan managed to get past them in 1982 and, believe it or not, get into the Queen's bedroom. This was a huge thing back in the day.
What? Michael Fagan? Michael Fagan? Queen UK? Intruder, yes. I happened to sort of spell it correctly. Or autocorrect saved me. British citizen known for breaking into the Queen's bedroom. I'm guessing the Queen wasn't there. Obviously she was not there. That would be insane. That'd be crazy. 1982, 40 years ago. Wow. So that was a big story, I assume. I mean, someone snuck into the White House and snuck under the president's bed. Yeah, you'd never hear the end of it. That'd be like, that'd be nuts. That's crazy.
Some sources, maybe not that reliable, say that Fagan only did it because he had been in the pub with his friends and he had bet them £5 that he could get into the Queen's bedroom. He managed to scale a wall, climb up a drain pipe, and then it's said by sheer luck, he ended up on the balcony outside the right bedroom.
He didn't even know where he was going. He just like stumbled into the bedroom. I hope this is true, that he wasn't there for like evil purposes, although obviously you shouldn't be doing this to begin with. He was probably like super drunk and made a bet or something.
There are, after all, many bedrooms in Buckingham Palace. Stories differ as to what happened next, with some reports saying the Queen was startled and Fagan said to her, "Relax, sister, you don't have to worry, I'm Irish." We doubt the veracity of the source, though. Other reports say he just left the room and was subsequently apprehended by police, who probably should have been on the scene sooner.
Probably that, right? Of course there's gonna be some funny alternate story. That's always more fun.
He was not charged for trespassing, but for stealing some royal wine. In the end, he was sent.
He actually did steal some royal wine? Oh my gosh, this guy. Fagan, what are you doing? I mean, he looks happy in this little screenshot. He's probably pretty proud. And probably took a couple chugs of that royal wine before he ran, huh?
To a psychiatric hospital. After hearing this, you might be wondering where the Queen's Guard were. But the Queen's Guards were already beaten as they remained outside the palace. The fault was theirs, but also the police officer that was supposed to be guarding the room. The sentry
I mean, if you're a Queen's Guard guarding on duty 24 hours a day for weeks on end, I'm sure they change shifts, of course, but it's not like you have eyes in the back of your head. I could see once in a blue moon, you know, we're only human, someone sneaking by them through sheer luck, possibly even. And, you know, I wouldn't be too hard on the guards. I'm sure they felt very bad.
Job sounds kind of boring, as they just stand there for long periods of time. We're told that they have the order: you may not eat, sleep, smoke, stand easy, sit, or lie down during your tour of duty. In a 2-hour period.
Oh my goodness. Let me hear that again. Now we're getting into the hard rules of being a Queen's Guard. Sounds quite tough. I don't know if these are ceremonial rules, or was one of them you can't eat, you can't sleep easy, or what are we saying here?
And there for long periods of time. We're told that they have the order: you may not eat, sleep, smoke, stand easy, sit, or lie down during your tour of duty. In a 2-hour period, every 10 minutes, they will pace back and forth where they are stationed. This can be amusing for tourists.
Once every 2 hours, so they are standing still for the most part? That sucks. That is hard work. It's funny because a lot of people would think that's just like easy, like you're just standing there doing nothing, but standing and doing nothing is actually shockingly hard. Like, go try standing outside your house for 2 hours and then pacing back and forth. That's your stretch. That's all the stretch and movement you get. And no snacks. It would look pretty silly if a royal guard started like busting out a bag of Doritos while he was on duty. I get that. He could hide it in his hat, though. Okay. No. Suppress these thoughts. Okay.
As the sentries look so serious. Tourists in the past have gotten in the way of the sentry, and if that happened, he would shout, "Make way for the Queen's Guard." He might also shout, "Stand back from the Queen's Guard." And if that isn't heeded, then he's forced to point his rifle at you.
Whoa. Or they just like march over you? If you don't, people shouldn't be getting in the way of the Queen's Guard, obviously. And how could you miss it? Look at this thing.
Tourists.
How are you accidentally getting in front of this? You are just probably way too concerned with yourself if you're getting in front of this battalion of Queen's Guard marching, and they're screaming at you to get out of the way. Yeah, but I'm I'm positive it happens. So there is no limit to what humans are capable of. Yeah.
He would shout, "Make way for the Queen's Guard." He might be forced to point his rifle at you. Unfortunately,
do the rifles work? I guess that might seem like a dumb question, but the rifles, I never actually knew, are they operational? These are guards. These are like official military. So yeah, I'm sure the guns are loaded and functional. It's just I don't know, I guess I only think of that because when I was a kid, I used to think these guards were just ceremonial. They didn't really do anything serious, and probably just there for looking at, honestly, like an attraction almost, as silly as that sounds. And then probably their guns were just props or something, but this is completely rectifying all of that misconception. My goodness.
At least some members of the public, mostly tourists, still get in these guards' way.
Yeah.
And so their posts have largely been removed from where...
Just shove them out of the way. Just shove them to the ground.
Mostly tourists still get in these guards' way.
I mean, as long as... Hopefully no one gets hurt, and it's probably super satisfying when people they just move. Just no other explanation.
And so their posts have largely been removed from where they could be interfered with. In an interview, one guard said that being tormented by tourists was starting to take its toll, and he was...
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, oh my goodness, it'd be so annoying. So old after a while.
I was glad their posts were now in a place where the public couldn't get too close.
Aw, see, the public kind of ruined it. Probably people visiting, everybody just interfering, messing with the guards. They kind of ruined it for everyone, and now they patrol behind a fence or something. I don't blame them, but that's kind of sad.
He told Stars and Stripes in the U.S., "It's about time. We've had enough of that lot. They'd stick pins in you, some of them."
What? I can't even... I believe it. I believe it. They get their little sewing needles out. They get their chopsticks out or whatever. If they just had something to eat, they get their forks. They're poking you. If they can point a weapon at them for getting in the way of their marching, they must be very tempted to do something when people are coming up and touching them. I have heard that when a royal guard, a queen's guard, is touched, they have full autonomy, they are completely allowed to react, to move, to do whatever they have to do. I have heard that. I don't know how true that is. I'm sure it's true to some extent. You can't just let people come up and poke you with sharp stuff, right?
Another guard said that it was fine that people wanted photos and even got up close, but he said some tourists would throw banana skins in their path, while others would stick oranges in their bayonets or pull their bearskin Busby hats.
What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? This is why we can't have nice stuff. We can't have nice things. Pulling their hats down? Putting an orange on their bayonet? Like, what are we doing here? What's going on? I mean, it's funny to think about, but being there physically and like watching it, I would not think it's funny. I'd just be like, what are you doing? How have we come to this? How have we come to this right now? That's what I'd want to say to them. What are we doing right now? If the guard wasn't allowed to say that himself, I'd want to say that to them. Like, bro, what's going on here? We're putting banana peels in their hats. Why are we doing this?
That same guard said this, which doesn't sound all that bad. Women sometimes wanted to come up and try to hold hands. Lots of women slip things into our pocket when we're wearing greatcoats. Things like addresses and telephone numbers. The Australian media said in 2018.
See, it used to be more playful, more harmless stuff, like just for fun. And then just people get too out of hand, right? They start poking you with bananas.
People must be aware that while guards may seem unshakable, if someone really does something to annoy them or become too much of a nuisance, they will react. Still, one guardsman said most of the time their weapons are not loaded. You only carry live rounds if there's a high threat level that someone will attack, he said. But
so
I've never carried any.
Okay, I was wondering about that. I assumed they probably were loaded since by the description earlier of the Queen's Guard, they really have pretty important protection duties, patrolling duties, and so they're really meant for defense and protection. I assumed they would be loaded, but I'm guessing they are functional guns, functional weapons, but they keep them unloaded, possibly with ammo on hand, so it's kind of a mixture, kinda.
According to him, they must look serious at all times. If they're caught laughing or even chatting with a tourist, he said they're liable to be fined around $355. You're allowed to get them away by shouting warnings at them, the guard said. If they fail to move or start to act aggressively, we present our bayonets to remind them that we can do more harm than...
If someone was doing that to me, I'd want to pull out my bayonet. What was this guy doing?
For start to act aggressively, we present our bayonets to remind them that we...
I might offer this guy some medical help, actually. What's he doing? Or pull out my bayonet if I was scared enough.
Can do more harm than them. Another thing is, all that standing can be hard work, and some guards have been known to pass out. If they think they're gonna faint, it's said that they have to do that in a disciplined way.
Okay. Yeah, that goes along with the whole kind of sentiment I'm getting, the seriousness of the job. Pass out in a serious way, do it kind of with some dignity. You're the Queen's Guard after all. Pass out and slam your head on the ground, but do it respectfully.
It's called a feint to attention. You have to feint to attention, a Major Di Bevan of the Welsh Guards told the Times newspaper. It will probably involve a broken nose and a whole lot of missing teeth. You can find photos online of what it looks like. But
what? This has happened? This has actually happened. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that at some point. My goodness. Feint at attention. Okay.
It seems that they also have some fun. An article in BuzzFeed, which took the information from former guards, tells us that they would give each other funny or sometimes insulting nicknames. They would act around, too. With one guard trying to say if they got the chance to sit on the throne, they would do it and take a selfie. If you get a chance to sit on the throne of England, you aren't going to pass it up, he said.
I mean, the guards are just like people. They're normal people, so I'm okay with that. You know, they have some personality. Come on, we can't. They have to act super serious for like probably 12 hours a day on patrol. Let them, you know, be a person in their spare time. Probably not good if they're taking selfies on the throne, but you know.
Other documents say some guards would allow their friends to park in St. James Palace, while another document said some guards would sneak the lady friends of Prince Andrew into the palace. So while they might look like inhumans to the tourist, They are certainly not unlike any of the rest of us. In a
Yeah.
Reddit Q&A, a guard talked about many aspects of his work, saying if you want to be one of them, you must pass a few tests and also have the smarts about you.
Yeah, this is a pretty historical, famous job. Definitely in America, this is a famous job. So the criteria for who they hire is probably as strict as many government positions, probably.
He said that it helps to be tall. He said that while much of what they do is ceremonial, they are also security. He just added that
Right.
if things do turn awry, police are usually there as a backup. Asked
Okay.
if he ever had spoken to the Queen, he replied, yeah. When I was at guard on Windsor Castle, she came up to me with her husband and the dogs and asked me some questions. She's really nice. He
Wow.
seemed to like his job, saying only
Probably made his day. That's kind of, yeah, that'd be pretty darn cool. Especially if she had her dogs with her. That would be a plus as well.
occasionally people would try and annoy him. Although he did say on any given day about 200 tourists would try and make him laugh. He also said the job
200 a day. That just tells you right there. That's just the ones trying to be funny, make them laugh. 200. Think of how many are not trying to be funny and maybe just being annoying. Oh my, hundreds and hundreds every day. Probably actually keeps you somewhat entertained, at least on the job, but the annoying factor probably kind of ruins it. So I don't know. I'll probably keep my application not submitted for now.
gets tiresome, so you have to amuse yourself. When I'm really bored, I like to mess people's pictures up. When a load of Asian tourists
Yeah, okay. I like that.
came and set up a huge picture, I waited until the cameraman was counting down to take the pic, and then marched up and down my post until they all left. He also said that sometimes, perhaps the most embarrassing times, is when a guard needs to urinate but has nowhere to go. He said occasionally you'll see a puddle underneath the guard's feet. If any
What? What? What are we saying? What are we saying right now? We're peeing on the ground?
but has nowhere to go. He said
What?
occasionally you'll see a puddle underneath the guard's feet.
What? We're just glossing over that. All right, we're just we're just casually saying they go to the bathroom in place? Is that what we're saying? Okay.
If anything were to happen to the Queen, it's good to know that she's got her loyal guard to turn to for help. And if you've got a terrible website,
Okay. I think that's probably the end of the video. All right. Wow. That was good. That was very good. Actually, that was the infographics show. That definitely deserves a like. That was very well done. Really nice video. That cleared up a ton for me, quite honestly. That answered a lot of questions. Exactly the number one question of kind of how serious is their job, for lack of a better way to put it. I thought, it was kind of ceremonial, and it is somewhat ceremonial, but it's also quite serious. And I think it's pretty serious applying for it, and they only hire certain people, and you are there first and foremost, I think, to be an actual guard, a bodyguard, protection, a patrol, for these very important, landmarks. Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, others, where the Queen is going to be. So it's pretty serious work, actually. And, the physical aspect of having to be at it for hours and hours and hours, and you really have to put on a strong face, put good posture, represent the crown and all that, and have to put up with all the tourists coming and bugging you. And probably some are probably fun interactions. Hopefully, I really hope so. But a lot are probably unpleasant, unfortunately. So, yeah, they didn't talk about the pay or compensation. That would have been super interesting. But the job is not easy. And this is way better of an understanding that I have about the Queen's Guard that I had, earlier today. I'm a totally changed man from just one video. Wow. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this reaction, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, more UK content, themes, culture, places that I'll be looking at, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.